question's being asked, is a nation without borders a nation? No, it's a conquered sector of the globalist. And Perry's saying we need to secure the border with a show of force. The Border Patrol and ICE is under Obama globalist control. They're a red carpet to bust the people in and give them free money. I mean, that's on record. The Border Patrol's been saying that for almost 4 months. We documented it almost 4 weeks ago with Drudge. It's incontrovertible now that the government is completing the smuggling process, as a Border Patrol agent said last night, Hector Garza, on national television. That video is on Infowars.com. Multi-billionaires Buffett, Gates, Andelson unite for amnesty to break the country, to drive down the wages, to bring in the voting bloc. They all give money to anti-gun groups. They all give money to globalist groups. They're the globalists. You understand that? Illegals to get lawyers, schools, and health care. This is the government doing what the vets don't get with outside groups. Again, they're just being used and exploited. But it doesn't matter. They're still incredibly dangerous. Fed spending $1,000 per bed. Populist immigration backlash. Armed militia sets up Texas Command Center. Fight for national sovereignty. 90,000 to cross by end of summer. Folks, it's 90,000 a week. Trump, this influx is killing the country. It is, because they go right on welfare, folks. Obama meets with immigration hecklers. I'm on your side, man. Michelle O, we have to keep fighting as hard as we can. Perry, president didn't know Border Patrol was stationed 40 miles from the border. That's right. It's stationed 100 miles. Deportation agency will be broken months. White House stands by claim that border security is stronger than ever. Adult illegals posing as children to enroll in high school. Yeah, I mean, because they can have any ID they want. They can have any ID they want. Any ID they want. And they just get in. Meanwhile, if you have a float with Obama Presidential Library as an outhouse and as Obama as a zombie, the feds come investigating your racism. They're not even claiming it's a threat to the criminal president, who I want nothing bad to happen to. No, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is the insanity of the country that we have now reached here. Documents show NSA knew London Guardian was pressured to destroy Snowden documents. That's breaking on Infowars.com right now. And in other news on Infowars.com, let me just pull it up on the computer. My other one's not working. Documents show NSA knew London Guardian, again, as I just mentioned, was pressured to destroy Snowden files. And, of course, the parliament was in a secret deal without law to allow all the illegal spying. See, it's all just a gang of crooks, just like our government. First Lady of Guatemala, illegal immigrants, not refugees escaping violence. Feds investigate racist depiction of Obama as a zombie. Just mentioned that. La Raza members vow to aid illegal immigrants in Marietta. Man arrested for asking cops a question. Sheila, dumb as a bag of hammers, Jackson Lee declared border under control. Well, it is actually under control. NSA collects it all, knows it all, and is actually the Stasi model, says more major whistleblowers. Yeah. And it's all to secure the criminal takeover. If Obama actually cared about Homeland Security or Islamic terror, he would seal the border now. There's another article. Well, of course, they run the radical Islamic terror. And Obama is incredibly popular in Saudi Arabia with Wahhabist groups. That's in a poll out today. Not just with Muslims. His approval rating is high with Muslims, but with the most extremist of groups. There's 7 billion people outside the country. The globalists, our government will team up with them to come in here. I don't care who they are. They'll hire the former Stasi to set up stuff and come take over and set up Homeland Security. Marcus Wolf. They'll bring in radical Muslims to destabilize things and blow stuff up and then take our rights. They'll bring in unlimited illegals from Latin America to collapse things. This is a takeover. Now, joining us is someone taking action against the evil, and that's Mark Harrington, the executive director of CreatedEqual.net, a pro-life group. And the article is up on Infowars.com. Crazed abortion advocate attacks peaceful pro-lifers. We put this story out yesterday. And we put out a beeped version of it, but there's so much cussing you can hardly understand it when you beep it. And his team out on the ground that puts up signs all over the region showing the aborted babies was attacked physically by her. We never found out in the video, was she arrested at the end of it? And she seems very unstable wearing her Burger King uniform, as she calls them racist and anti-women. And, of course, that abortuary, we looked it up, mainly kills Hispanics and black babies. So if you're against killing blacks and Hispanics, you are an anti-woman racist. And then when she says that, she then attacks after invoking the battle creed that, you know, makes her somebody and you nobody, which is really a form of racism itself, or tribalism, to dehumanize you as a racist before then attacking you. She is the model of Gloria Steinem's destruction of women to marry the state. So joining us is Mark Harrington. Mark, thank you for all you're doing. I want you to tell us about Created Equal and the organization. But before you do that, break down what you're doing on the ground there. And this video has now been aired on national television all over the place, where this obviously disturbed woman attacks your people.
Yeah, well, on Wednesday, Alex, we commonly go out to our state house here on the public sidewalk, and we set up these abortion victim photos and engage in dialogue with people. And as you can imagine, you know, some people come along and can't contain themselves. They get argumentative. And the thing is, we're trained, though, to kind of diffuse that. But in this case, as you can tell by the video, this woman wasn't just argumentative. She was verbally abusive. Then she destroyed our signs. Then she proceeded to assault one of our staff members. We contacted the police. They came. They cited her for criminal damaging and assault, and she's going to be arraigned next Wednesday.
Again, her attempt to shut down your free speech of real authoritarianism. I mean, this is what we saw in Germany in the build-up to the 40s. And I'm not just making that parallel lightly. Intimidating people's speech is the final domino to fall when a society collapses into tyranny. And more the left are avowed authoritarians. We see the quotes of, if you're in the Tea Party, we want you in body bags, and Lois Lerner going after pro-life groups with the IRS. I mean, do you agree that this is real authoritarianism?
No question about it. If you watch the interview with this young lady, she tries to say that the First Amendment protected her right to damage our equipment and assault us. I mean, that's her understanding. Now, she's getting that from somewhere, as you can imagine. It's either the public school she attended, from her parents, you know, who knows? But it's coming from a culture that accepts violence as a way of dealing with problems like abortion. So, you know, this is the problem. We're seeing this more and more often as we go out in the streets. I tell our people that we understand the risks that are involved, and it's probably going to increase. We wear cameras that are running continuously, and we're going to be certain if it does happen, we're going to capture it on film, because we have to be our own police department, our own media people. We got to, you know, because the media generally isn't going to cover us. I was actually surprised that they did in this case. So we've got to do the work for the media. We've got to do the work for law enforcement, who generally want to ignore this kind of thing.
Well, I tell you, we saw the latest video with the lady having the abortion saying she loves the baby. It's loving what she's doing. That sickened everyone. The polls are really swinging against these people. Is that why you think they're freaking out and getting so violent?
Yeah, I think so. I think it has something to do with public opinion shifting towards our position. But I also think we're just living in a lawless age. Look at who's in the White House. I mean, from the top down, it's okay, it's permissible to do whatever it takes. The end justifies the means, and that includes violence, to get what you want. And I think these young people are just being taught that, that it's acceptable. And she didn't think twice about it. In fact, when she was arrested, she said, "Come and get me." And she put her hands out, ready to be arrested. I mean, it was like a badge of honor for her. So I just think we're seeing that more and more. And I think it has something to do generally with just the culture of the Obama administration and others. People are victims. Everybody's a victim. Nobody, you know, nobody's a victimizer. In fact, I've had people trying to defend this woman as the victim, and I'm saying, well, wait a minute, who are the people that got victimized here? It was us. You know, we were out there exercising our First Amendment rights. She comes, destroys our stuff, assaults us, and then tries to say that she had the right to do it.
Well, she seemed to almost be in a panicked, manic frenzy. And
yeah,
most people I run into now in Austin, Texas, where I live, are formerly Democrats and liberals and are now what I'd call libertarians, and are waking up that there's problems with Republicans, but that the Democrats are really becoming tyrannical. But when I do run into a Democrat now that doesn't like me, they'll walk over maybe once a month now in a restaurant or on the street and slap me on the back of the head, knock my glass over, start booing me in front of my family in like a public peer pressure thing, where they really seem to be desperate right now, that they've betted everything on this weird culture of statism. It's not delivering for them, and they seem desperate.
No, I think you're right. I mean, we're seeing that on college campuses across the country. I was just in California. We did the same very type of outreach on Venice Beach, of all places, if you could imagine. And it's just amazing the acceptability of people who come up to you and curse you out. And you got to understand, Alex, I lead a group of young people. These are students. Some of them are 15, 16. We had a couple that are 13 and 14. You got adults, supposedly, coming up, giving them the middle digit right in their face, screaming at the top of their lungs, at these young people. And it's amazing that anybody would do that.
Well, you're standing up for people that are under violent attack, so it just really illustrates how violent these people are, and chopping babies up is violent. The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalist by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Mark Harrington, who heads up the organization CreditEqual.net, that puts up signs around the region, I know works with other groups that do it around the country, showing what a baby looks like even in the first trimester. And look, folks, the issue here is this is being used as birth control. 53 million Americans have been killed, and now they're trying to kill babies up to age 3, infanticide. Now judges are saying, have sex with your kids. That's in the news today. Australian judge says incest may no longer be taboo. The pedophilia is okay. This is part of a deranged takeover. I've studied these people, and it's very, very dangerous. And it's part of an overall just anti-human system. Look at MSNBC saying recently in promos, your children belong to the state, and you didn't build your business. And it seems so alien to those of us that are somewhat normal. They mean it to be alien. They are nudging us. They are preparing us. Do you agree with that statement, or would you like to augment that, Mark Harrington?
No, I agree pretty much. If you watch this video of this woman, she talks about us being misogynistic and all of this, that, patriarchy and all of it. She wants to stop patriarchy and all that. At the foundation of a lot of this is they just hate men. It's bottom line, they hate men. In fact, Alex, you're in Texas there. There's going to be a group of radical pro-abortion activists coming through the state there on what they're calling the Stop Patriarchy Tour. And they're going to come to Austin, in fact.
Oh, yeah, this is the same place where they chanted Hail Satan last year.
Exactly.
When pro-lifers were praying. And it was literally hundreds of women spontaneously sticking their tongues out going, I love you, Satan, hail Satan, I love abortion. And really, it gets down to the fact that they're getting off on the human sacrifice.
They are, and they're coming to Texas. There's going to be a 5-city tour, and we're actually going to come down there and oppose them. So this is going to be sometime in August. They don't have the dates yet, but these are the radical pro-abortion groups. I mean, they're running this, their advocacy, this movement on the other side, and really the foundation of.
By the way, that sounds crazy. In fact, I want to invite you to Austin, to the studio, sir, when you come down here. I'm sure you're coming to the Capitol, but we're almost out of time. But at the bottom of the rat hole, what is running all of this? Obviously, you're a Christian. You believe it's Satan. But for the layperson out there who isn't into religion or whatever, I mean, looking at this, when I say they're saying hail Satan, there's really video of that. I didn't know this until I got involved in media 20 years ago. When you really run into these really pro-abortion people that run this, it's a religion to them.
It is. You know, there's a scripture that says, those who hate God love death. It's a culture of death. Death is what drives this. Satan's the author of death. He came to rob, kill, and destroy. This is a religion to them. And this is nothing other than child sacrifice. I hope people understand that you could draw the parallels back to the Old Testament with Moloch. I mean, this is what's happening in America. We're not sacrificing our children to some pagan idol god, some figure, but we're sacrificing our children to choice, to I want a career, I don't want a baby right now, I don't want to be married, I don't want my boyfriend, whatever it is. It's still child sacrifice. That's what's driving this.
Well, a lot of ancient cultures would order the firstborn killed, and they knew firstborn were the ones that got uppity and were leaders. It was a way of getting rid of the next group of rebels. And that's really what the Ritalin and the boys is all about, and all of it, is it's about killing the next generation.
No, I agree. And that's why we're trying to raise up a pro-life generation. And our whole commitment at our organization, Created Equal, is to raise up the next generation of leaders to take on this culture of death. We will take it on, face to face in the public square. We're not going to shrink back. We understand there's risk, but we've got to go forth. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I expect much worse than what happened the other day. And I'm girding our loins for what's coming.
Well, Mark Harrington, hope I get to meet you when you're here in town. Keep up the important work that you're doing.
Appreciate it.
For those innocent people out there. But, when you talk about turning the tables, the state's power grabbing right now because it realizes the end has come. Look at the polls from 1974 with Roe v. Wade. They flipped now. America's turning against abortion, especially in the youth.
That's right, and it's primarily because of the technology. You don't even have to have a regenerate heart to understand. If you look at an ultrasound or an image of a preborn baby to understand it's human. So that's what's turned the tide right now. There are still many people out there in denial that they'll kill their baby no matter what. You can give them all the evidence in the world, won't matter. But there's still enough people in the country that can reason to the conclusion that that's a human being and abortion shouldn't be permissible.
Well, look at the decline of our country since we brought it in. I'm not even judging everybody out there. None of us are perfect. We need to recognize it's bad. That's the beginning of turning the tide. Thank you so much, sir.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.